Welcome to today's professional development presentation on English immersion in the state of Arizona. I am your presenter today, Jonathan Williams. You may be asking, what is an English learner in Arizona? Well, according to Arizona law, this is any student with a native language other than English who has difficulty either reading, writing, speaking, or understanding the English language, and thus that this difficulty would impair their ability to excel in the classroom. However, today we will also be discussing how Arizona educates English language learners and how this eligibility is determined. The majority of Arizona's EL population is made up of Hispanic and Latino students, with Spanish as the leading native language. Also, a significant number of Native American students make up the state's ELA population as well. This includes Navajo and Apache languages. There are also quite a few African and Asian students from countries such as Somalia and Vietnam, which add quite a bit of diversity to Arizona's EL population. Let's now take a look at two forms of English immersion taught in Arizona. First, there's structured English immersion, and this program is designed to last for 1 year. And in this, all instruction is delivered in English, and there is an emphasis placed on acquiring the English language, so therefore all curriculum is based on reading, writing, grammar, speaking, vocabulary, and listening skills. And a daily SEI regimen is roughly 4 hours of the school day. So it's not the entire day, but roughly half of the school day is based solely on learning the English language. And during this time, EL students are only placed with other SEI students for these classes. However, there's another option. In sheltered English immersion, students have the opportunity to learn in both English and their native language. And rather than having a fixed time frame, students can work on an individualized plan that meets their needs. Students are also grouped with other English speakers, as well as speakers of their own language, to pick up the language more easily. Here in Arizona, we believe in research. And that research demonstrates that in order to effectively teach English to new learners, a multifaceted approach is best. At the very core, all educators have to share the responsibility for promoting the success of English learners. This is achieved through integrated instruction in disciplinary language and content, targeted and explicit language instruction, constant assessment, monitoring, and feedback so students know how well they're progressing, as well as asset-based behaviors and expectations, because students need to know when they're expected to meet certain milestones. Of course, student agency surrounds everything we do with English language instruction, and we're going to talk about that more in just a moment. Student agency is the degree in which students feel that they have some ownership over their own learning process. And this ownership also includes having the ability to make certain choices surrounding their educational options. And the reason for this is that if students believe that they actually have a voice in how they learn the English language, they may feel more personally involved and invested, and thus more motivated to learn the new language. You gotta put yourself in these students' shoes. They've been forced to move to not only a new school, but also possibly a brand new country, and being forced to take on a brand new language. So there may be some resistance there to learn this new language. So teachers have to keep this in mind and perhaps try to make it more fun for the students and to give them that ownership to make this seem like a personal goal that's worth learning and achieving. Arizona has approved 4 research-based SEI models. First is the newcomer model, and this is a very intensive program that is designed for newly arrived EL students with little or even no proficiency in the English language. Next is the pull-out model. And in this one, the students will be occasionally taken out of their general ed classes for SEI courses throughout the school day. Then we have the 2-hour model, which is just 2 hours of English language immersion that is built into their regular school day. So this is just a 2-hour class, 2-hour block throughout the day, just dedicated to the English language, improving that English proficiency and building those skills. Then we have a really special model, the 50-50 dual language immersion model. Now, this requires a special parental waiver for students to be instructed under this model. And in this, students receive instruction in equal amounts English and their native language to build both skills of bilingualism and biliteracy. This could be especially helpful if the student's parents are only going to speak the native language, but yet the student is expected to speak the native language at home, but English at school and in the career world. Arizona requires a 2-step eligibility process for their EL programs. Step 1 is the home language survey, and this is completed by the parent, student, or guardian and simply asks which language is primarily spoken at home. If the answer is anything other than English, the student is then regarded as a potential EL student and is thus referred to the next step. Step 2 is the Arizona English Language Learner Assessment. This is a standardized test which determines whether a student should be placed in an EL program, and then if so, which is the appropriate placement. EL students are then reassessed on a regular basis to determine when they have become proficient enough to exit the program. Students taking the Arizona English Language Learner Assessment are offered several accommodations for this exam. These accommodations include extended time to take the exam, frequent breaks during the exam, small group testing, the right to have instructions repeated to them, also the right to take the test in multiple sessions during the same day, and the right to take the test in an individual setting. Parents and guardians have numerous rights regarding their child's participation in EL services in Arizona's schools. Their rights include information about EL programs and their child's progress within these programs. Parents also have right to have their child assessed for English language proficiency in a fair and valid manner. They also have the right to participate in decisions regarding their child's education, including which programs their child is going to be placed in. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you've learned quite a bit about how English language learning happens in Arizona, as well as the rights that these students and their parents have. I look forward to working with you throughout the year here in Arizona.